In this video, Kevin and I are going to be given a total wrap up for the cruise that we took. We went on the Royal Caribbean Wonder of the Seas, and the reason I chose that particular cruise ship, in all honesty, I did a Google search. What is the biggest cruise ship in the world? And that's it. The Wonder of the Seas is the biggest cruise ship right now.
As of right this second.
Right, yeah, as of August 2023. Now there is going to be one that's
Icon
coming
of
out.
the Seas,
Yes.
which is also a Royal Caribbean.
Yes, and
It's not much bigger though, but
no.
it's a different layout completely.
Right, and so you want to know, I got the question, why did you choose this particular cruise line, this ship? Well, Royal Caribbean is supposed to be one of the very best. It's supposed to be top notch when it comes to cruises, and so for our very first cruise, I wanted to have the best experience possible. I've known other people that have done other cruises with other cruise lines, and they did not have a stellar review, and so we wanted to try the best. I had said before, if you're a longtime viewer, that a cruise was not something that interested us at all. That I could not see us doing it until we were older. So I got the question, well then why in the world did you go this year? Because you know, you haven't done it before and you said you were going to wait. The reason for that is because we were going to go to Hawaii again. We love going to Hawaii. And you all have seen Hawaii the past 2 years. But for me, it's not about how many views I get on YouTube. This is our vacation, and I just happen to be sharing it, you know, for other people who are curious about taking the same vacation, how much will it cost and all that stuff. So we were going to go to Hawaii again, but the airline cost had really gone up. It had gone up quite a bit.
And she was looking at, we were looking at different places to stay.
Yes.
And one of the places we thought about doing was the Disney
Aulani. And because I was looking at Aulani in July, it was going to be an astronomical price. I mean, it was going to be a crazy price.
And that was just for like a night or two.
And I was like,
it was still nuts.
No way. There's like for example, instead of paying $400 a night for a room, you were paying like $1,200 a night for a room.
It was literally that much.
That's how big of a difference it was. So
don't quote us on those numbers.
No,
but just throwing it out there.
But in July
like
at Aulani, it's expensive. So I was like, Ashley likes to go to the beach. Kevin likes things that are all inclusive. Like he really likes going on a Disney vacation because Disney's all inclusive. And I thought, what could we do?
Not inclusive as far as you get everything included. Once you get on property, they take care of everything for you.
Yeah, once you're on Disney property, you're on Disney property and you're taken care of.
You don't have to worry about transportation.
So I got to thinking, what vacation could we take where it's basically the same? Where once you're on this property, basically, you're on that property, you get to go to beaches and stuff like that. A cruise popped up. And so I immediately asked Ashley, our daughter, who gets very, very sick, she makes herself car sick. I'm like, if we took a cruise, would you be interested in going? And it honestly surprised me. I was thrilled, but it surprised me when she said, sure. Because anybody can go to the doctor and anybody can get a prescription for medication to take care of their motion sickness. So it doesn't matter that you have motion sickness, there is medicine for you. And so that is what Ashley did. She got patches, these round patches. You could put them anywhere. She chose to put them.
No, I think it said put them under your.
She had a friend that put them somewhere else. I know that.
I'm almost positive the directions said put them under your.
Okay, she had a friend, I'll just tell you, that put them on her like butt cheek or something.
No, it's the directions they put them on.
She had a friend that put them somewhere else because you couldn't, wherever it was she stuck it, you couldn't see it, and it worked for her.
I'm just saying the directions they put it behind you.
Okay, well, okay, but
that might be a good place to put it, but the directions they put it behind you.
So that people had asked me, why did I choose it? Why did I choose Royal Caribbean? Why did I choose this particular ship? Those are all the the reasons why. So we, during this video, by the way, we will be telling you everything. We'll be giving you prices and all that stuff. But we decided to go down. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, are you going to go through questions now, or are we going to do just an overview?
I'm going to go down.
Okay.
Well, and then I'll stick things in there as we go.
Okay.
What I'm going to try to do is...
She changes the format of these things as we go. You know?
I do.
I just have to wing it.
Well, what we did was we would do a
She doesn't tell me what's going on, you know, I'm just here for the ride.
He has all the knowledge. We would do the day on the cruise, and then we would do a wrap up the day after. During those wrap up videos, we asked for questions. So some of these questions might have to do with specific days we're going to talk about, and if I realize it, I can go over it at that time.
Right.
I probably won't realize it, and so the questions that you all asked,
we're going to make sure we answer them.
We'll make sure we answer them, but it might not be until the end. So even though if we're talking about Port Canaveral or something, if you ask the specific question and you don't hear it answered, I've written down the question, so hopefully I'll get to it at the end, even if it's not in a certain order. But we decided to go down... well, do you want to talk about the process?
Well, I can tell you at first we did not decide to go down a day early.
No.
I did all the booking on the website. You pick your cruise, you pick your... we booked the flights and everything through the Royal Caribbean website.
Okay, so I was going to ask you went to the Royal Caribbean.
We went to the Royal Caribbean website, found the cruise we wanted, found the date we wanted, found the locations it went to, because different cruises go to different locations. The same ship will go to different locations as well. I think Wonder of the Seas also goes to like Mexico occasionally too. So, you know, you pick your area. And then you find your flight. And so I was able to find our favorite airline and book the flights from, you know, the airports to Orlando and all that stuff. I was able to book the, you can't do it right then, but you can, well, no, you can do it right then. You can book your travel from the airport to the port and the port back to the airport. So they'll pick you up at the airport, take you to the port, take you from the port to the airport when the cruise is done. So you can book all that stuff all at one time. Then, so we were done, right? We had paid for everything and was finished. Then Tammy started freaking out because the more videos we were watching on people and recommendations and stuff, all of them were saying,
go down the day early.
Go to the day before. Go the day before. You never know what's going to happen with the airline, with your flight. Are you going to be late? Are you going to get canceled? If you get delayed, you know, it's not like...
I think it depends a lot on what airline you choose, and we always choose a dependable airline.
But I think that
has a lot to do with it.
But even then, flying back home,
something could happen.
We were 4 hours late going home.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we had been 4 hours late coming to...
Oh, we would
have missed it. And it's not like a hotel where you fly in and you get an Uber and you go to Disney or wherever, and the hotels are going to be there. You just check in later, right? This hotel leaves.
Yeah.
This hotel literally...
the ship will leave you.
Pulls anchor and takes off.
Whether you're on it or not, they ain't waiting for you.
So you don't want to be late. Now, if you book through Royal Caribbean and it's something that they will get you to the ship, but it may be on down, so you'll miss days of your cruise if you do that. So anyway, so that's how we booked. But then we changed our mind about going down a day early. So I just called them. I just called the Royal Caribbean, the booking people, customer service people, and said, we have changed our mind about the day. We're going to fly down the day before instead. So we need to, because they booked the airplanes and stuff. I said I need to cancel those and cancel the transfer from the airport to the port. And he said, oh, sure, we can do that. No problem at all. So it was really easy to cancel it. He said, do you want us to book flights for the day before, the previous day? And I said, sure. So they actually booked the flights for the day before. It was actually cheaper than the ones we originally got. So it was funny. It went down, I don't know why, a day a week, I guess. But it was cheaper, but they didn't have transfer from the airport to the port since we weren't flying in and using their service that day, we couldn't go from the airport to the port using Royal Caribbean's people. We had to actually do an Uber is what we did. So it worked out. It was fine. We got there in plenty of time. It probably would have been fine, but who knows? You just never know.
Yeah, getting there, I enjoyed getting there a day early.
It's less stress. That way you're not worried about everything.
Yeah, I'll just answer this right now too. We did not have a travel agent. We've never
used a travel agent.
Never used a travel agent.
Our own travel agent.
Yeah, if anybody can look up the stuff online and find it. If you choose to use a travel agent, that's fine for you.
Yeah.
I've just had that question. Yeah. We've not done that. We also have never gotten any kind of travel insurance. No. There's never been. We've never paid for extra insurance.
No, it actually says declined on our piece of paper here.
Yeah, so they'll ask you.
Yeah, they'll ask you if you want to get it.
Because if something happens.
Yeah, if you break a leg, well, you're either going to go on the cruise with a broken leg or you're going to cancel and lose your money.
We saw
Or a certain amount of money. I don't think they keep all your money if you cancel.
But it's a certain amount.
But you don't get much of it. You don't get a lot of it back.
We did see a boy on the cruise.
You could tell he had just broken
with
that
a
leg.
cast. He had one of those
little carts.
Yeah,
a little wheelie. It looks like a little scooter.
It looks like a scooter. Yeah.
You got your leg kind of bent and put on top of it.
And that would suck. But when you've paid for it, and if you're like us and you don't get travel insurance, guess what? Your butt's on that ship anyway.
I think I would still go unless I'm literally in the hospital. With something, then I think I would still go. If I broke something or got a cast or something.
You've spent that money.
Yeah, I think I'd be going.
Yeah. That's why
I can say though that if you, from my understanding, not from doing it, if you book through a travel agent, sometimes you can get credit on the ship. Oh. So I've read a few articles that said, we booked through a travel agent because we got $25 of credit on the ship because they went through a travel agent, and it just lets you spend money, like you get drinks or souvenirs or whatever on the ship. That's all it is. Yeah.
Well, we went down to Disney Springs the night before,
which was, we have one purpose, one goal.
Though I'll be 100% honest with you. The whole goal of doing that was to go to Gideon's Bakehouse. And if you watch the first wrap-up video, that didn't happen.
Yeah,
it literally was devastating. And I don't consider that any of our faults, because they do not let you know at Gideon's.
It's not very clear.
That there is a virtual queue, and what is a virtual queue? What is?
So you have to literally go up to them and ask them.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is, then you're just SOL.
Well, let me just tell you what it is, just in case you didn't watch it. At Gideon's, they get so busy on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. Well, I don't know what Sundays, but Fridays and Saturdays.
They said
especially.
The weekend specifically.
Yeah, weekend.
Yeah.
So what they do is, instead of everybody just standing in a big old line, you go up, you put your name on a list, they punch you in the thing, and they give you a time. They'll text you when you need to come back and actually stand in line. So you're in the line, but you're not in a physical line, you're in a digital line. So if you didn't do that,
if you didn't know that was,
if you didn't know that, because you look over there, we walked by there many times, and the line was like,
you see people standing in line.
Yeah, and it didn't look that bad, and we're like, oh well, good, we can just go right over there.
You don't know that they're in a.
That's a 4-hour virtual queue.
That's a virtual queue that they've been
4 hours.
I would have been willing totally to stand in line for 4 hours. But you don't get that option. You have no option to stand in line.
So what we were going to do was we were going to go eat dinner and then go over, because we didn't want to carry around cookies all day, or cake or whatever. So we were going to go over there after we ate dinner. So that's when we walked up, and they said, oh, it's a virtual queue, and the queue will put you right at closing time. And it's like, well, we can't stay right here till closing time. No. So we ended up just having to leave. What's sad is, if we had known, if we'd understood that beforehand, we were there for hours beforehand. We could have easily put our name on the list and gotten there probably after dinner.
Yeah, it would have been great.
So anyway, just know that exists. And if they say anything, if there's a sign anywhere about Gideon's that says virtual queue, just go up there and talk to them.
Yeah, you need to put your name on that list. We will know from now on. Yeah. I mean, I'm still glad we went to Disney Springs.
Yeah, we had a good time.
We went to Raglan Road and ate there, and honestly, I would never eat there again.
I would never eat there again. The food was okay. It just wasn't.
I think what I liked about it was the surroundings, the building itself, and the entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
The entertainment was 10 times better than the food. The burger that I had was fine, but really it's the entertainment that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there is no reason to ever go back there again.
No,
I've done it, checked it off the list.
We thought about we should have went to Polite Pig.
Because Ashley likes pulled pork.
Yeah, I love pork too.
And Kevin,
so.
we weren't thinking about how much we all really like that. We should have gone to the Polite Pig.
We tried to book another place.
Yes.
And we could
Homecoming.
we could never, ever get a seat.
Even talking to Disney representatives, I called. You could not get a seat.
No, it was like you had to wait around until 9 o'clock at night. And it's like, okay, who's booking? Because I got on the app right when they opened the booking, and that they didn't have any bookings open until 9 o'clock that night. And it's like, who are they reserving these for?
Who is eating at 9 o'clock at night?
Well, I'm wondering who's reserving the 6, 7s, and 8s. There's
right.
nobody. They're just leaving them open. But if you walk up and try to get a table, they're packed. So,
right. Yeah.
So it's like you just can't eat there.
Yeah. So we stayed when we flew in the day before. We stayed at the Orlando Airport Hotel, basically.
It's the Hyatt Regency Orlando International Airport. That's what it's called.
And so to spend the night that one night, how much did that cost? It was $3 something, I know.
It was $330.75.
And
that was the final cost we actually paid with tax and everything.
It was fine. There
wasn't much of a room, really.
It's fine. It was a bed, and it was a place to lay your head.
They got some age on it.
It's outdated. Yeah. Yes, it needs to be renovated. It needs to be updated.
Actually, was she turning the water on in the shower and the handle came off in her hand?
She walked in the room with the handle in her hand.
I said, what do I do?
There's not near
I said, well,
enough.
I'll stick back on. So.
There's not near enough plugs in the room.
No, you can tell it's an old hotel because they didn't plan for phones and camera batteries and laptop batteries. They just didn't plan for all that stuff.
No, they did not. So we stayed there.
It was a decent place to stay for one night. I would not want to stay there more than that.
We got an Uber to downtown Disney, and we got an Uber back to the hotel that night. The next day to get to
the port.
Port Canaveral, the same one that took us to Disney Springs picked us up the next morning, and that's the Uber ride that we took to Port Canaveral.
Yeah, and it was she did a really good job. Yeah.
We liked her driving.
So I've still got a cough hanging up around.
We liked her driving so much on the ride to Disney Springs that Ashley and I were both like, I mean, and you're talking about somebody, Ashley, who gets car sick. If she says she's a good driver, she's a good driver. And I liked her because she didn't get right up on people.
She didn't try to zip in lanes. And
right.
She pretty much stayed in her lane and that was it.
You're right. And so she got us to Port Canaveral. We got there a little bit early, but there was no line. And so because there was no line, and it was after 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it was like 10:20 or 10 something.
We were like, Kevin had chosen a time to
11?
check in.
It's like 11 or 11:30.
We were there before that. Kevin was like, oh, well, it's before our time. Can we go on and go in?
And they said, sure, come on in.
So yeah, it was no big deal at all. Everybody there at Royal Caribbean is extremely friendly.
Yeah.
They're happy to be there. They greet you with a smile. Just very, very friendly. It was very easy. You did not have to show, like with all the COVID and the injections, you did not have to show any proof, that you had been vaccinated.
I think some countries still require that. Like if you go to certain places, you have to. But the one particular one we run did not.
They did not.
They asked. They asked if we'd been vaccinated, but they didn't ask.
But they didn't ask for proof. So you could have said yes, but you've never actually had it, or and it makes you wonder. Well, what would they have done if you had said no?
I don't know.
I don't think they would have done anything. I don't think
put it in the records.
Yeah, I don't think it mattered.
It was interesting. We pulled in. At least I was surprised because I just didn't realize it. There were people leaving.
Yes, there were people leaving.
Like when you pull in here and you kind of go. Well, we didn't, but the Uber driver pulled in and kind of went around to the left and dropped us off on the left side of the port. Well, on the right side where we first pulled in, people were lined up in cars and taxis and Ubers.
I immediately noticed. I thought these people are...
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know that until we saw them.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were all leaving. At the same time, we're getting dropped off to
Yes.
get on. So you don't think about that. Ship literally just got there. And people are lined up and leaving. And you're getting on basically at the same time. I mean, it's just amazing that they do that.
Yeah.
Especially knowing what it was like when we were leaving. We'll
get to that. But
yeah, it was interesting, and that you don't cross paths except when you're dropping off and picking up.
It was very seamless getting on the ship.
Yeah, it was a nice experience.
That part, no problem at all.
Just have your little your pass on your phone or print it out, and you just show them to them. They scan it. It's a QR code, and you go right in. I had them on the phone. For all three of us, I just scanned it, swipe, scan, it was done.
I wrote down certain things. People wanted to know, is it wheelchair accessible?
Yeah, they have ramps and everything everywhere in the going in, and on the ship itself, it's all wheelchair accessible too. They have elevators, and there were stairs, but they had elevators to go everywhere. You might have to go, just like anywhere, you might have to go in a little bit, go up an elevator, then go back to where you want to go. But yeah, it was all handicap accessible.
Yes.
If you had scooters, which we didn't see anybody on. Well, we saw a couple. We saw a couple scooters, but not as many as I thought.
No,
but there were a few.
No. There wasn't as many as I thought, but I noticed it more when I was editing the videos, and I would be like, there was somebody on
the background or something.
Because I don't pay any attention.
I don't either, because I don't care.
So usually it was like, somebody asked about that, and I noticed the scooter in the video, and it's like, but you didn't see very many.
No.
So what we did when we first got on, you cannot go to your room.
Not until 1 o'clock.
Right. So we explored.
Because they're still cleaning them up from the people that had just walked off.
Yes. Yeah. And you
never realize that.
You don't realize that. They're back there cleaning. It's not because they're being mean, not letting you go to your room. It's because they're actually cleaning from the people that were just there. Yeah. But we discovered the walking track. We looked around in the gift shops in the windows. You need to know, though, none of those gift shops are open.
No, they don't open because they're all duty free.
Right. So when you first get on the ship, even though you might be wanting to buy a t-shirt or a candy bar, there was a candy shop where you could buy candy bars. Don't buy any candy. If you want to take a candy bar, take a candy bar with you in your luggage. Yes, take it with you, because this stuff is marked up 4 times what it should be.
Ridiculous.
And I answered several people saying the only people that are buying those candy bars are people who aren't Americans, because Americans know better than to pay $4 for a Snickers bar. We're not doing it.
No, especially when there's so many desserts around everywhere.
Yeah, the only people that would do that are people who have no clue, who don't live here.
And there were a lot of people that weren't. You could tell they were non-Americans.
Yes,
because they had flown in and then got on the ship. You could tell there were a lot of people from other countries, though, because there were people talking in French and Spanish and God knows what else. I heard them all over the place.
I'm thinking,
it's like Disney.
I'm thinking somebody is sitting at their home in France, and they're thinking, we want to fly into America
and get on this cruise
on this cruise ship. And I'm like, why would you do that? But why would just anybody do that? You know, but I'm thinking.
I think about us going, if you wanted to take a trip around Italy, you could fly over to Italy and get on a cruise and cruise around Italy and the islands. I mean, I'm just making Italy up, but you know.
You could, yeah. But it's like, you don't think about.
But you don't think about that.
No, because you think more like when people come to America, you think, oh, they want to go to Disney.
Or someplace in America.
Why wouldn't you want to go to Disney? Why would you want to get on a ship? But
there's a lot of people.
There's reasons people pick a ship.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has their own reason.
But none of the stores were open. But shortly after we got there, the buffet, the Windjammer, was open, so you could go eat lunch or whatever. If you wanted to. So you weren't starving. The food was there pretty early.
And if you want to go swimming.
Yeah, all the pools are open.
All the pools are open. So you make sure, because if you don't have your luggage, you won't have your luggage. Make sure that you take, if you want to go swimming, a bathing suit in your backpack or whatever. I
mean, you could drag your carry-on bag with you if you want to. It's just a lot to carry around.
Right.
Or drag around with you.
Right.
We just had a backpack.
Yeah, we had a backpack, but we could have all had our suits in the backpack.
Yeah.
But we knew that's not what we wanted to do right when we got on. We wanted to explore. We'd never been on a cruise
wanted to
ship
tour a little
before.
bit.
And for me, it was like, this is the size of a block, a city block. I mean, it's just amazing how big this thing is.
But you also, if you don't check your bags when you get there, like get the tags and stick on there, if you don't do that, you're going to be lugging that luggage around until they open your rooms at 1 o'clock.
I would not recommend.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I would let them take care of your luggage.
Yeah.
We talked about the day we got on.
Let me mention one thing too. When you pull up to when you get to where you're getting dropped off, there's people there that will take your luggage. As long as you got the tags on them, you're fine. They will take your luggage. We gave them $1 a bag. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. You don't have to tip them at all if you don't want to. We just felt like giving them a tip. So we gave them $1 a bag. They took our bags and then they were out in the hallway they say they'll be there by 6 o'clock. It was actually earlier than that. It was more like 3, wasn't it? When the bags were out in the hallway. So anyway, they will take your bags for you. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
You brought up a good something. People might wonder, did you take cash and credit cards? What kind of money did you take?
We have our card, of course. And anything on the actual ship itself, you pay with your CPass card, which is your room key, basically.
Right.
You just pay for everything with the room key, and then they will just add it all up, and you get charged at the end of the cruise. So you get a statement at the end in email. Here's the total for all your drinks or whatever, and then they bill you. So you can do it that way. We did take some cash. We didn't use a lot of cash.
I was gonna say, Kevin didn't answer that question fully.
I didn't finish that question.
No, you didn't finish it because I told Kevin before we left, I did not want to use our debit card on the islands. Like when we got off of the ship for our excursions, I didn't want to have to use the debit card. So we made sure.
Well, you never know if are they going to allow you to buy something there unless you call your bank and all that stuff.
Right, so we wanted to use cash. So we took, like $300 a piece?
Yeah, something like that.
But we didn't use near that much.
No.
We're going to tell you what we spent at the end. We hardly spent anything.
But we didn't buy a lot of souvenirs.
No,
honestly.
we didn't buy a lot of souvenirs.
We could have, we just didn't.
Right. So I'm not going to go through every little thing we did because that's in the videos. But we went to Perfect Day at CocoCay.
The next day.
The next day we went to Perfect Day at CocoCay. That was nice because you got all the free food. You got a free lounge chair, lounge chairs with an umbrella.
As long as one was available. They're not reserved. You have to pay for the reserved ones.
Right, but there was.
We didn't have any problems because we got right off the ship and went over there.
We knew exactly where we were going. So what we did prior to, once we booked this trip, we started studying up, watching YouTube videos. If you want to know anything about anything,
so many videos.
Go to YouTube. There are some wonderful people who cruise all the time who do these videos.
Sometimes they recommend some silly stuff that's like, you didn't need to do that.
But
most of the time it's pretty decent.
For the most part, that's how we did. Like somebody asked me, how did we study up? Well, that's what we did. We watched YouTube videos. And a lot of the things that we bought before the cruise, were recommendations from those people. So our research was done on YouTube, and I'm
reading articles and stuff.
So like they said, take some cash for these islands.
Yeah,
that's what we did. Yeah. But now we didn't use a lot. But now CocoCay was.
That's just like being on the ship, literally.
CocoCay was nice because you didn't have to worry about having money for food or money for the lounge chairs.
You would have to have some, the bars, you have to use your CPass and you just charge them.
Right. And if you wanted to buy something.
If you wanted souvenirs, now those are ran by local people.
Right.
That you'd have to buy.
So you would have needed money for that.
Right. You would have had to have some kind of money or credit card or whatever.
But CocoCay was nice.
It's a nice beach. A very nice, pretty beach.
Yes, very pretty. We did see a stingray in the water.
Yeah. Hopefully that came through on video.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. You could see it very clearly.
And then Tammy got immediately out of the water and didn't want to come back in for a little while.
Steve Irwin died. Steve Irwin literally died from getting stung by a
He got stung in
stingray.
the chest, though.
I don't care. I don't know what this is going to do. I don't know where it's going to decide to stick that thing. I know. So yes, I got out for a while, and I gave it time to go where it
It
needed
didn't
to
stay
go.
around very long. It swam off.
Yeah,
It was cool seeing one. It was neat.
it was neat to see it
I'd never seen one.
and then leave.
Yeah.
We then one day.
But like Tammy said, all the food's free there. You go, you can go
It was
get
good food,
cheeseburgers, and they had burritos and nachos and salad if you wanted a salad. I don't know why I
You don't need to take
your cups. Or your cups.
You don't need to take cups.
You don't need to take like your Coke cups or anything like that. You don't need. They don't have Coke unless you go to a bar, maybe.
And as far as towels, you can check the towels out on the ship. You just need to make sure you turn them back in, because if you don't turn them back in, you're going to get charged for them.
Yeah, it's like $25 a towel.
Yeah, so don't leave it laying there on the beach. You need to, if you check it out, you need to be responsible, and you need to check it back in.
And they also, when we went there, did you remember they had a way for you could check them out on your way out. So you didn't. We went and actually we went up to the pool and checked ours out beforehand. But they actually had it set up to where you could just walk by and check one out right then. So.
And some people, when we were doing research, they had complained about like long lines and stuff like that.
I didn't
notice any long lines to get the towels.
Not really.
I didn't notice any problem at all. Another day, they had an Anchors Away parade, which is a parade that they had just all the
show performers.
The show performers from all the different shows get together, and they have this parade.
It was neat.
I think it's mainly for kids.
Yeah,
but it was neat
them.
to see.
It was them singing and dancing a little
We
bit.
went to a few shows that day. The next day, we went to St. Thomas and Megan's Bay, and
the name of that was actually Discover St. Thomas and Megan's Bay.
That was the excursion we did.
Right. Oh, they had tons of them to choose from.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say about these excursions at both St. Thomas and Megan's Bay, at St. Thomas and at St. Martin's, which we'll talk about in a minute. There are many, many, many excursions you could take.
Tons of different ones.
It just depends on what you're interested in.
Like they had, you could go out on a boat and drink and scuba or whatever.
And scuba diving. And
Ashley gets sick. Amy gets boat sick too.
Yeah, I don't need to be on the
So neither one of them would. So automatically you get rid of all the boat ones.
Didn't they have zip lining?
They had zip lining. They had all kinds of different stuff you could do. Tons and tons of stuff.
We were very limited in excursions that we were interested in. Right. And so
there was like 2, maybe 3 that we were looking at and debating about.
Right.
And we kind of said, well, we'd like to go to the beach. And we can go look at the mountaintop thing where you can look over and get a good view. But there was another one that didn't go to the beach at all. So if you didn't want to go to the beach, there was excursions that didn't go to the beach.
You didn't have to go to the beach.
But that one was called Discover St. Thomas and Megan's Bay. It was $251.97 for all 3 of us.
Okay, and that one, it was the one where it took us to the top of the mountain.
Right. The only thing it included was transportation.
Right. It took you to the top of a mountain. And you
got to go through that souvenir shop
in the gift shop
and
for half
do the
an hour.
lookout, the mountaintop lookout.
Yes, and I used the bathroom. Listen, I used some sketchy bathrooms. I really did. Not on St. Thomas or St. Martin, you were not allowed to flush. You were not allowed to put the toilet paper in the toilet.
Right.
They had trash cans next to the toilet. You had to put the toilet paper in the trash can, which honestly, on Hawaii, when we went to that shrimp place and ate, you weren't allowed to put your
septic tanks or something.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to put your toilet paper in there too. But let me just say, I went to some sketchy bathrooms, and you got to get over it.
Gotta go.
You got to get over it. You got to go. You got to go. CocoCay, I thought, Lord, I'm not going to be able to get out of this water and make it to, because at CocoCay, they've got the bathrooms right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
But it's a little walk, and when you've waited so long, it seemed like it took me forever to get from the ocean to the bathroom. And by then I was like, I can't get this bathing suit. You know, you're trying to get this wet thing off of you, and there was a struggle in there.
Now, most people are going to say, why didn't you just pee in the water?
I would never. I think it's
It's not a bathtub.
disgusting.
It's an ocean.
I think it's disgusting. You know, when I told Ashley,
I didn't do it either, but I'm just saying.
I got out of the water and I went to Ashley and I said, I have to go pee. And she looked at me like,
Are you crazy?
she looked at me and then she looked at the water and she said, just make it quick. Because there's no way that I could make myself pee.
You're in the world's largest bathtub out there. I mean,
I think it's vile and disgusting.
Nobody's going to be sucking in
way.
your pee water.
There's no way. There's no way I could do it. I could not make
that
myself.
That could be a would you rather. If you're in the ocean, would you rather just go pee in the water or get out and go to the bathroom?
Guess what? My butt's getting out and going. I think people.
On Survivor, they actually poop in.
I think that people that do that when they're in the shower.
That's different though. A shower and that's different than the ocean.
It's
anyway,
disgusting.
Regardless.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, I just said I went in some sketchy bathrooms.
Yeah.
So we are our tour on St. Thomas. We went to, like I said, top of the mountain. We got to go through the gift shop for half an hour.
Which is not enough time, really.
No, not at all. And then they took us to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time you spend on the beach.
Yeah.
If you wanted anything to eat or drink, you were going to have to pay for that.
Yeah. And Megan's Bay, they had a restaurant right there, didn't they?
Yeah, it was just that the line was so long. That's where we got the little cup of Coke later on.
Yeah.
The line was so long that nobody wanted.
It was basically a bar.
Yeah, and nobody wanted to wait in line for that.
I remember that. But they were bringing out, somebody had a huge pizza box. I mean, it was huge.
Massive looking pizzas,
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't actually see the pizza. I just saw the box, but it looked huge. And they had a lot of like Chinese food, like rice with stuff. Yeah, right. They had that too.
So let's answer right now. How much did that cost?
It was $251.97 for the three of us.
Would you recommend somebody do that?
Okay. Here's my debate about that. Since it was booked through the cruise line, it probably cost more money. Mm-hmm. However, since it was booked through the cruise line, if you're running late, they won't leave you.
Right. If you book
it yourself, if you're late, guess what? They're gone.
The ship will leave.
Yeah, they're gone. So if their truck or bus or whatever breaks down, which is entirely possible, trust me.
Yeah.
Then you're just stuck. I mean, you're just stuck there.
Right.
There's nothing you can do. And it was a little bit of a drive between the beach and the ship.
Yes, it was quite a drive. And going up that hill.
So for peace, if you think about it, if you're buying peace of mind and transportation, I think it's worth it. Mm-hmm. If you want to wing it and take a chance, then get a taxi and you go. You know, it's just, I think you're paying for peace of mind more than anything.
Right. But did you think...
I don't think what you got out of the money, you didn't get near what you should be.
No, you didn't. But basically you're paying for your Uber ride, honestly. That's what you're paying for him to take you up to the top.
In a very interesting truck.
Yeah, for him to bring you back down and take you to the beach and then take you back to the ship.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about getting a taxi and
right.
You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's all planned for you. So I don't know. It's just, for me, it's worth it for peace of mind and just easiness more than anything.
Right.
But some people don't mind paying for less. They want to pay less for not worrying about it.
So the next day we went to St. Martin's, and that was Moho Beach.
It was plane spotting at Moho Beach. That's the name of the excursion.
And how much did that cost?
That was $192.
Okay.
For all three of us.
And I will tell you that if you want to do plane spotting at Moho Beach, I do think you'll want to you could get a taxi, but it is all the way on the other side of the island. It's a long drive.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, let me just say this. Some people commented, oh, that beach is way too busy for me and there's too much going on and I wouldn't want to go there. You go there for plane spotting. You don't go there.
You don't go there to relax on the beach.
No,
That's
you don't
not
go
the
there
point.
to relax on the beach or be in the water or something like that.
They had other beaches
Good.
for that.
Yeah, there's other beaches at St. Martin's for that. If you want to do that, there's plenty of other beaches. We chose this beach because
It was the plains.
it's the plains. It's
Yeah,
a
once in a
wonderful-
lifetime.
That's right. And so what was funny was on the way there, it surprised me in the bus. You had to sign release forms.
Waiver. Yeah.
Yeah, saying that like if something happened, if something falls out of this plane or whatever and hits you in the head or whatever, that it's okay. Because, so everybody's signing forms and you're passing the pen back and all that on the way. I really, really enjoyed it.
It was not the most comfortable place to go, but it was neat seeing the planes come in. I'll say that.
Yes.
Where we were sitting at the bar, it was nice at the little restaurant bar.
Yeah.
It was nice because we were sitting in a nice seat. Once we moved over to the actual beach, you only could rent like two. I mean, I guess you could. It included two.
It was two.
So 2 beach chairs was $20 with the
Yeah.
umbrella,
And we
which is
had
well
cash,
worth it.
cash,
Well,
yeah.
but it was well worth the money.
Yeah.
It's just there's really not enough beach there to really go swimming in, really. So like Tammy said, it's really not a beach like you're gonna go out and swim.
No.
And very few people were doing that.
Yeah, people were there to plane spot. That's
Yeah.
why you go.
So it's not a really comfortable place to like go sit down and like wait, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it's definitely worth doing once for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think, if you've never done it before and you like plane spotting, then I think you would really enjoy this. And Ashley would always spot on fire. So we'd be sitting there, here comes a plane. She was really, really good at it. And I think she enjoyed it too. It's just something that you don't get to do that often.
No. And if you really want to be adventurous, you could walk up and like stand right next to the fence when a plane's taking off, and it would literally just like blow you away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so to me, that was money well spent.
Yeah, the money's worth it because it's really far away.
It was crowded, but we reserved, we paid our $20 for our beach chairs.
We sit there the whole
And we were fine. We sat
Yeah.
there the whole time. I did wear a bathing suit just because I didn't know whether I would I knew I probably wouldn't get in the water, but I didn't know if I would get hot and want
Right.
to take my shirt off and just have my bathing suit on. I ended up just leaving my clothes on, over my bathing suit the whole time. Didn't even need to take anything off.
didn't
None
either.
of us did.
No.
Well, Ashley did lay out in her bikini.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
We did.
As far as the souvenirs that were right there, I didn't get any just because they had. It was the souvenir shop was next to the bar, and so they were
was all
promoting.
bar related.
It was bar related, and so there just wasn't anything that interests me. But we had a nice day there.
It was good. It was hot. Boy, it was hot.
It was very hot. Yeah. The next day, Ashley slept in.
Yeah.
And-
From now on, it was ship days.
Yes. You rode that Ultimate Abyss, which if
Big-
you watch the videos, it's a big purple
It's a big slide. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was fun. They won't let you take the cameras on the slide, so that was a shame. But
Right, because we were hoping that we would have been able to take the camera and get footage, because you had seen a YouTube video or something, right?
yeah, I think you could probably sneak it in if you wanted to. Like once you start going down, you probably could have pulled the camera out because you have to put all your stuff in the bag that you're sitting in. If you're real savvy, which I'm not, you probably could have grabbed your camera out as you started down once you got past where they could see you, and then started recording. But by that time, you're moving so fast, and it lasts like that. I mean, you're done.
Right.
And so by the time I got down there, it's like whatever. If there was a line for it, I wouldn't have done it. But since there was no line, it's fun to do.
There are restrictions, and someone asked me, do you find the restrictions, do they let you know that before you get on the ship, because you need to know these restrictions? I could not find them. I only found them on cruise blogs.
Right, where they talked about it. Other people talked about
But not the actual Royal Caribbean website. They do need to put the restrictions on the website.
Yeah,
because
and they are posted at the places. It's
Right,
just
but it's
not
too
on the
late.
websites before you get there.
Well, by the time you've gotten on that ship with all your stuff, it's too late. You might not have what you need, and that was the case with several of the different activities. For the slide, you had to wear at least short sleeves. You couldn't wear like spaghetti straps.
Yeah, because you're going to bump the edges, and they don't want you to get scuffed up arms.
For the rock climbing wall, I actually saw it on the first day. She said, I would love to do the rock climbing wall. You had to have closed-toed shoes. We didn't know to bring closed-toed shoes. Well, we just didn't know that was, you had to have them. Ice skating, for the ice skating, you have to have long pants and socks. You have to have socks.
Yeah, they don't want you to borrow their ice skates with your bare feet.
That
makes sense.
They provide you with helmets. You have to wear the helmets while you're ice skating. But they do absolutely need to tell you these things. It needs to be on their website, and it is not. So I'm letting you know here. Hopefully that'll help somebody out if you go. So that was just the main thing I wrote down that we did. And we saw a show. We saw a show most of these nights. There were many, many different shows to see. And someone made the comment, well, they should have had enough different shows to where you didn't have to see the same show twice. Well, I mean, I didn't mind seeing the same show twice. We saw like 3 shows 2 times each. I was thrilled to death with them because you like them so much that you want to see them again. That was how I felt anyway.
One thing I think is a little weird is they don't run the same show for the entire time. So like the first 2 days they had one show was the Effectors or
something. I didn't write it down. Yeah.
They had that show. They only did it twice though. The first day you were there, and like the next day, that was it. That was it. And then that's all they ran it. So if you didn't get in those first 2 days, now they ran it a couple times in those 2 days. But if you didn't get in there, you just didn't get to see it.
Right.
The same thing for like Voices. Voices they didn't do until the end, like for 1 or 2 times.
Right.
So I guess they can't do them, and they don't have daytime shows most of the time. Yeah. Almost every one of these shows is at night.
It's all at night.
They don't have them during the day.
They do not have daytime shows.
Even when you're at sea sailing, and they're enclosed theaters, so why couldn't they do them during the day? I don't understand. I don't know.
I think the reason, in my mind, they would answer the reason that they only have like the Effectors was the first show. I think the only reason they do it the first 2 days is because you're in that auditorium for another show later in the week. I think they have to prepare it. Yeah. I think they have to prepare it for those shows.
It's like a Broadway show. You know, you can't put on Wicked and whatever in the same day or the same day.
Right.
The same day.
But
that makes sense.
The shows are only at night, so that's a thing. So if like if you wanted to see something during the day, you're not going to get to do that.
Maybe, and that could be because they want to keep you at the pools. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So the next day, we saw something on the schedule called Kitchen Nightmares, and it wasn't a show, but it was like they interacted with the audience. They pulled audience members out. They pulled out 2 adults, and then they pulled out 2 kids.
And they ended up putting the dad in there too.
Yeah, and then they competed. And I did film a lot of that, but I didn't end up showing it because it would have been so long of a video for you all to sit there and watch. And I figured, it
was okay. I mean, honestly,
it was fun.
It was just something to watch for a couple hours. It was entertaining.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, if you missed it, you were probably okay.
Earlier in the week, we had seen the ice show. We saw the ice show again.
Yeah, they had like a replay of that. I don't know why.
And I'm thrilled to death that they did. Every time we saw these shows for the first time, we always had reservations. When we went back and saw them the second time, we did not have reservations. So just know you can go see the shows without reservations. Mm-hmm. You just might not get the best seats if you don't have reservations.
Because they don't let you in until after other people sit down for the most part.
And then the last day was getting off the ship and then traveling home was the last video. But I do have to say, as far as the debarkation day,
that's the day you leave.
That's the day you leave. It was a cluster.
Well, it didn't work it didn't work as smooth as they said it would.
And they've been doing this long enough to where you would think it would be as smooth getting off the ship as it was getting on the ship, and it is not.
Well, if you go by their numbers, it seems like it would have been.
Well, let's talk about the luggage first, because we did not know. What you need to do if you want Royal Caribbean to handle your luggage, you need to pack your bags the night before. And you need to have them out in the hallway.
Before 10, wasn't it?
Before like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, which means for me...
Was it even earlier? Was it earlier than 10?
It might have been 9, but
It was sometime where we were going to be at a show during that time, so we had to put them out even earlier.
Yeah, we had to put them out before. For me, which meant I needed to keep out my makeup. Normally, I would pack up my makeup in the luggage the next day. I had to keep out everything that I was going to need the next day. I had to keep it out. And then once you got to the airport or got back in contact with your luggage, then you could put stuff where it went. Not a big deal, but it's very different than just
something you have to think about.
Right. And somebody left a comment saying, oh, if you want to deal with the luggage yourself, you could.
Yeah, you don't have to put it out in the hallway the previous day.
I'm so glad I would never choose to do that because
to take it on your own.
To take it on my own because it was such a cluster getting off that I would not have wanted to have this huge luggage. We were in a horde of people. I mean, everybody's
just standing there.
Yes, everybody's wanting to get off the ship, and it did not go as smoothly getting off.
It's like they had one door and everybody out.
And I cannot imagine trying to get this huge luggage and deal with all these people, and then you're in rows trying to get off this cruise ship. And I would not so yes, you can choose to deal with your own luggage. I would never do that.
No, because you're dragging your luggage through all these people.
I would not recommend that.
The deal with it, do you want to talk about it when we left? Do you want to talk
sure.
about it?
Go ahead.
The deal was they give you based on what you are. So we were in the category of we were getting a ride from the port to the airport. So our flight was after a certain time. So we were in, I think our number was like 45 or something like that. Yeah, 45 late transfer. So that was the number we had. So when they give you this little packet, they lay it on your bed so you know it's there. It's got the times and the numbers and all that stuff in there. It's got some luggage tags you stick on your luggage so you can put them out the night before, all that stuff. And it tells you what time to be ready to leave, right? So our time to leave was supposed to be 8:30. So we were supposed to, at 8:30, you were supposed to be able to basically get in your line and leave. Well, it was 9 o'clock, getting after 9, and people were there's just people standing around, not knowing where to go or not where to do.
They acted like you could stay in your room.
Yeah, up until that time, and then you couldn't. At 8 o'clock, they said, get out of your room.
They wanted you out of that room because they wanted to start cleaning them, which I understand because there's another group of people coming on for the next cruise. But they made it sound like you were going to get to stay in your room, and that just didn't happen.
No. And they also said something like you would get alerts on your phone about when your time was up. They never did. No. I never got one alert.
Not one.
Matter of fact, we had our did we have our carry-on? It seemed like we took our carry-on or just a backpack. I think it was just a backpack.
No, backpack.
So we just had one bag with us when we were left. And we were standing there and just standing there.
We did have the carry-on.
I thought we had the carry-on because she had our makeup and we had some dirty clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did have the carry-on.
So we have that. We have a backpack, and we gotten as far as we could, and then a guy was just yelling, 45s come this way, 45s come this way, because they knew people need to get to the airport, right? So they kind of beelined us past everybody waiting in line, which I'm glad. There were still people. We were walking right past people that had been standing there forever, and we got off the ship. Once you get off the ship, it's actually pretty easy. But getting off.
They need to do something about that.
Yeah, because there were just people just standing and standing and standing.
It truly was a mess getting off. That was the most.
And if we hadn't heard the guy yelling 45,
we would have stood there.
We would have been standing there. Yeah. And missed our bus probably.
So I'm going to end this. This is going to be part 1 of the wrap up because we've been going for so long. There will be a part 2 tomorrow. So we're going to continue answering questions and talk about, because I have a lot of questions here.
Yeah. And then we will end up getting the final
Yes,
totals.
we'll give the totals and all that stuff. But I want to do it in a part 1 and part 2 just because we're talking for a while. So thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll see you tomorrow.